What do you remember thinking about the procedure when you first saw it?
Much easier than it looked. Moving from iTrack to iTrackAdvance has been a real game changer. It's both effective, but it's also a safe procedure.
Why do you think preserving the natural aqueous pathway is so important?
We've got patients who we treat with things like SLT and other MIGS. Many respond, but some don't. This procedure is blebless. iTrack, it's bypassing the trabecular meshwork, but it's also dilating Schlemm's canal. So it's a really comprehensive approach to glaucoma.
Hey everyone, it's Matt Young here. I'm here in tropical Kuala Lumpur at the APAO 2023 with Dr. Nathan Kerr, one of Australia's most renowned specialists in minimally invasive glaucoma and cataract procedures. Well, welcome, Dr. Kerr.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me.
You know, you're something of a trailblazer here in minimally invasive surgeries, and especially in MIGS. When did you start performing canaloplasty?
Yeah, excellent. So I've been performing minimally invasive glaucoma surgery since 2016, and then now iTrack canaloplasty since the last 3 years now.
What do you remember thinking about the procedure when you first saw it?
When you see this and you watch videos of other surgeons doing this procedure at conferences, you think, wow, that looks like a technically challenging procedure. How do you actually cannulate Schlemm's canal?
Right.
And you think, wow, am I going to be able to do that? I think one of the first things you find as you actually do the procedure is, wow, it's much easier than it looks. And I think the learning curve has just got smaller and smaller.
I think most people would agree that canaloplasty really opened a lot of doors in the field. So what patients do you typically treat with canaloplasty?
The majority of my patients with iTrack performing in combination with cataract surgery, although I do also perform about 15% of my patients stand alone. For my combined cases, it's usually the majority of patients with mild to moderate disease on 1 or 2 medications. Patients really enjoy that. They find that their ocular surface is better, their eyes are more comfortable. That also improves the clarity of vision by having a better ocular surface. But one of the major benefits is to help reduce the medication burden.
What advantages did canaloplasty unlock for these patients?
I think it's both effective, but it's also a safe procedure. In terms of efficacy, we know this procedure lowers pressure by about 30%, with most patients having mid to low teens. And for patients with mild to moderate disease, that's often an adequate pressure. Medication reduction, we're seeing usually a 50-60% reduction in medications, and a good proportion, good 60 or more % of patients can be medication-free after the surgery. But patients also like its safety and its simplicity. There's no foreign body, there's no stent left behind, and it really has a side effect profile very similar just to cataract surgery alone. And so you've got a procedure that only takes a little bit more time to do, but gives us benefits in terms of better pressure, better medication reductions.
I think a lot of surgeons are really excited about the procedure, and a lot of those benefits you describe have to do with how natural the procedure is compared to others. Why do you think preserving the natural aqueous pathway is so important?
Yeah, I think it's a really key feature of this procedure is that while other techniques do create a new outflow route, which is very powerful, it's non-physiological. Also creates a bleb, which can lead to sort of bleb-related complications. This procedure is blebless. Cutting and removing tissue can lead to inflammation, promotes scarring. We know scarring is a major reason of why glaucoma operations fail. With our patients, we don't necessarily know where the resistance is. We've got patients who we treat with things like SLT and other MIGS. Many respond, but some don't, and that's probably because they've got resistance further downstream. What's really nice with iTrack canaloplasty is it doesn't matter. We're going to treat all 3 levels of resistance, whether that's the trabecular meshwork, whether it's Schlemm's canal, or the downstream collector channels. So it's a really comprehensive approach to glaucoma.
That's great. So you've worked a lot with the iTrack, which is a viscodilation device. What makes the system so good at what it does?
We know that many patients with glaucoma have narrow or collapsed Schlemm's canal. This way we're dilating, we're breaking any adhesions there are in Schlemm's canal, both with the microcatheter, but then also with this viscodilation. That's where we're injecting microboluses of sterile viscoelastic. That dilates the canal. Also helps pushing the adhesions out so that we're not blocking collector channels. And it's interesting, it might also be just a mechanical effect, but it's probably also got biochemical effects as well. There are receptors for hyaluronic acid, which is what we're injecting. And it can actually activate matrix metalloproteinases, and that can help clear the trabecular meshwork of debris and blockage.
It sounds like there's a lot of advantages actually, and now there's apparently a new iTrack, the iTrackAdvance, which I understand you recently introduced into your practice. How has it worked for you so far, and how have your patients reacted?
Moving from iTrack to iTrackAdvance has been a real game changer for me. It still uses the known effective iTrack microcatheter, but it's really improved the delivery system. So as a surgeon, it now comes in a preloaded catheter. This makes it much faster to insert and perform the procedure. With the original iTrack, you had to manually perform a little goniotomy and then with forceps advance the catheter. And that could be technically challenging and sometimes time consuming. Now, they've really made a really nice design with this atraumatic cannula, which we use to pierce the trabecular meshwork and enter Schlemm's canal. And then it's got an actuator which we slide, which then advances the catheter through 360 degrees. Really nicely designed. It can work for right or left-handed surgeons, whether you've got small or large hands. Really nice actuator. Makes it very easy to pass the catheter. What's nice is it's got this red illuminated tip, so we can always see where the tip is at all times. So we know as a surgeon we've got complete confidence of where the stent is at all times. And again, that really reflects enhancing the safety of the procedure for our patients.
So it sounds like you've had plenty of experience with the Advance. Maybe you can share some of your surgical pearls for newbies to the iTrackAdvance.
It's an easy procedure to adopt, but there are some important points that help reduce that learning curve. Like any MIGS procedure, visualization is everything. So you want to spend time making sure the patient is well positioned in terms of turning their head away and tilting your microscope. Again, getting that good view with the gonio lens. Making sure you're not applying excess pressure with the gonio lens because that can cause corneal striae, which can obscure your view. Take your time, it's not a long procedure, you don't need to rush it. Get a good view of the TM, advance the tip, and then talk into your surgical assistant to deliver the viscoelastic. And I just start withdrawing the catheter and then I count to my surgeon, 1, 2, 3, and they're turning the device which is delivering the viscoelastic, and then the catheter comes out and the procedure is over.
Well, Dr. Kerr, it was really nice to sit down and chit-chat about this critical new piece of technology for glaucoma. Really appreciate you taking the time away from the show here at APAO to chat with us.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.